want to be the best.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone, as always, is having a fantastic day, boys and girls. It is Monday, April 22nd, 2024, bringing you another Market Pulse update. Checking out the Bitcoin price, currently sitting at 67,000. And folks, can we get 8 green months in a row? The SEC abuses their power, and we're checking out, of course, new opportunities with the diving in of PulseChain and getting yourself a nice bag at this point in time, right before liftoff. So I hope everyone, as always, had a fantastic weekend. I just got done checking out the movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Gotta say, I did like it. Good movie. Let me know what you have gone to the theaters recently to go check out as well. I'm always curious to see what people are going to check out. Typically, me and my wife do movie date nights on Friday, but yeah, we decided to knock it out on a Monday, which was definitely a little bit of a twist. So it has been a little bit delayed today. Appreciate everyone tuning in right now at this point in time. Appreciate everyone who comes in, likes the video, subscribes to the channel. Much love to every single one of y'all as well. So guys, we actually see Bitcoin over here. Again, we've seen this in the past where Bitcoin actually ended up doing 7 green months in a row. It was the first time Bitcoin had ever done this. Even then, after all of this is done, Bitcoin has still yet to do a 30% dip. We've got the 27, we've got the 22, we've got a 20%, 21% here, 21% here, and even 19% here. The Bitcoin halving has already happened, so this is already kicking off at this point in time. But again, I'm wondering, do we close April green or red? I'm curious to know what y'all's thoughts are on this. Very curious to know what y'all's thoughts are on this, as a matter of fact. And the main reason why is because, again, it would actually require Bitcoin closing above $71,000 at this point in time. Let me draw a little line at this point just to kind of see if we can make that a little bit easier to see. But it would require Bitcoin closing at $71,288 or higher at this point in time. Let me actually just put the exact 289. 280. Wow. If I could type. 289. So we're going to leave this little white line here to see if we can close above and have 8 green months in a row. Bitcoin has never done this in the past. There's never been 8 consecutive months of back to back to back to back to back to back to back green months in a row. Wonder if I said that 8 times. I'm curious. Y'all can go back and let me know down in the comments below. But as always, folks, as I'm really hoping everyone is having a fantastic day. And it's one of those things I'm seeing Bitcoin push. We saw the most recent rally actually take off starting after on the weekend over here. So this is actually kicking off over on this side, which was Friday. Really started hitting the bottom. There was the news of Israel attacking Iran. Bitcoin, in fact, dropped after that news, and it has been trying to recover. And it seems at this point in time, it's already started to recover even after that news. With World War III looming in the future or in the vision, people are uncertain, and uncertainty is one of the worst things you can unfortunately have. Uncertainty is one of those things that when you end up getting into it, it causes fear, folks. It really does. So what we're seeing over here, and we can probably get rid of some candle wicks over here. Let's just draw it up with lines. As we can see, Bitcoin, as a matter of fact, drew this up quite a bit over here to 71,289 and dropped 14% in the span of 9 days. So it is interesting to see how this whole playing out. What I am seeing right away, just from a brief glimpse, is the impulse MACD is finally starting to curve upwards, or at least start to bottom out at this point in time. And usually when this thing does in fact cross the blue line and the orange line, which it looks like could happen by the end of April, things tend to get pretty bullish. In fact, you can see when we've done this in the past, back here where we actually had the cross happen, Bitcoin actually rallied, as a matter of fact, all the way up at this point in time from this price. Nice little 71%. Now, I don't know if we're going to get a 71% increase again. That would be absolutely bonkers for Bitcoin at that point in time, in my opinion. But we've seen crazier things. It hasn't had a 70 or a 30% dip at this point in time. So if it decides to go ahead and cross anywhere around these ranges, another 71%, could that put us above the $100,000 Bitcoin mark? That would absolutely get people mad bullish in the ecosystem as well for crypto. So Bitcoin is one of those leading indicators. The reason why I do enjoy checking out the chart of Bitcoin is it does kind of give us a direction at which way the market is wanting to go at this point in time. And right now it's looking like the market's wanting to make this plenty bullish as well. They are not letting any of the news, any of the rate hikes, any of the uncertainty going on, anything happening to stop it at all. Speaking of the uncertainty portion of it, we have the CME Fed Watch tool, which has a prediction or a projection that by May, we essentially will not be lowering rates. So, again, this is one of those things we're pretty much going to remain as we were. There was one day where I actually saw there was a 1.1% chance of raising the rates, but again, that was just a super low chance. Looking at the probabilities, we actually see this showing a 98% certainty that we're essentially going to stay the same. Even going into June, still an 84% certainty, so pretty much remaining where we are for the time being, and we might not even get a rate decrease at all this year. So we're gonna have to see how this whole thing plays out, how it's all going to shake out in the end as well. Looking at the Ethereum side of things, Ethereum currently sitting at 31,002 or dude, keep doing that. $3,213. We have in fact bounced off and bounced below the 618, bouncing off the point 0.5 retracement level or getting close to bouncing off there. In fact, if you were to draw this instead of the line, go with the candles, we saw that it did actually in fact bounce off the point 0.5 at this point in time and actually start trending its way back up again. Levels of resistance would most likely be around the $3,300 mark. That's also going to be the 0.618 retracement, along with where you actually see the previous wedge that it was actually forming. And this tends to actually lead things in a certain direction. Now, some people can say that we're actually forming a bullish flag at this point in time. You can actually kind of end up seeing somewhat of a flag if you were to draw this out a little bit better over here. But you can see if we do end up forming a flag that we would actually play in this zone, bounce up, possibly going into the $3,500 range, possibly even coming back down to the $2,800 range again before it decides to break out one way or the other. So it is interesting to see how this whole thing's going to play out at the end. And again, it is interesting and fascinating to watch it all. So Bitcoin rallying, Ethereum rallying, and it's actually outside of what people are doing with the S&P 500, where you have many days in a row where Bitcoin tended to actually follow the S&P 500 pretty damn closely. You can see we actually had essentially 6 days in a row, almost a week of red candles. If you go exclude this one day, we essentially went 10 days in a row of red. And you can see Bitcoin did not care, which is actually pretty unusual, folks. Not going to lie on this one. So, yes, there's been some days of red, but there's also been some days of green, along with red, along with green. And on average, when you end up seeing that red candle, it's followed by a green candle. One thing I'm seeing right from the jump, what my eye just caught right now, is we are seeing a doji engulfing candle over here, folks. This is very bullish when you actually are talking in terms of the traditional TA type style. When you see a candle pattern like this one right here, this is actually forming that particular situation where it's actually a line followed by the wicks. That's a doji engulfing candle, and that typically is a sign where the direction is going to continue going in that same direction. So as we see the prices going up, okay. And we actually see the doji engulfing candle, as you see right here, tends to continue to rally on its way up again. So pretty darn bullish overall. Checking that out. Yeah. So we had the what's up, Ten Top? What's up, J-Pon? What's up, Retrospect? Dr. H in the house. Watch Beekeeper. Yeah, that was a great movie. Jason Statham. Yeah, he's always kicking ass, isn't he? All of his movies, transport movies, and all of them, he's always just kicking ass in them. So checking all that out, very, very interesting stuff. Again, if you actually break this down over on the weekly, so you can see that impulse MACD, we are still on a bullish trend at this point in time. It was tending to actually finally start to curve down, which would actually be bull or bearish in that situation, but it doesn't look like it really wants to finish that rally. It looks like at this point in time, after the halving, it's done. The news event's done. You don't have to worry about anything at this point, and it's going to continue to do what it does. So yeah, very, very curious stuff over there. Diamond Hand Degenerate. What's up, gang? Tam Tam, hey fam. 7X, yep. Yeah, can you imagine just any of these charts doing a 7X? On the PulseChain ecosystem, going to gopulse.com, checking out some previous price actions going on as well. We have the Pulse price sitting at 40791, Pulse X sitting at 4033, the incentive token at $4.07. And I believe we're at 420 on 420. Comical there. Hex is currently sitting right below a penny right there. And then Hex over on Ethereum is 2018, with the ratio being 1 to 5.5. So always crazy stuff happening there. Now, when you actually check out the Pulse Chain prices, this is seeing some information going on in a smaller grand scale type deal. But looking at the overall MA channel of the 20 MA, this is actually showing that we are going back toward that direction of the channel at this point in time on the daily. So you can see we are forming higher highs and higher lows on this, which is always bullish as well. We would love to continue forming those higher highs, higher lows. So as the prices actually go up, they get a little bit of a pullback again, maybe to be expected. It goes up, it's in the channel at that point in time, gets some pullback, plays within the channel, and continues to go up. And it really shouldn't take, in all reality, too long before we actually get outside and back above the SAC price at that point in time. Now you can see when times actually have in fact broken out of that little channel, this was a mad breakout to the upside where you actually ended up getting roughly about a 3x in essentially 11 days, right? 12 days. I'll say 11 because it was right there. So 3x in 11 days. So when it wants to rally and break out above, it can go freaking quick, y'all. Then you see it play through within the moving channel, moving average channel, and you can see it's just kind of playing in here a little bit. It fell below, and you could see at this point in time when it did fall before it actually retested it again. It was a 29% dip. Once again, it did fall, retested it again, and it was sitting at 19%. So should want to go back up, retest again, just to kind of have a level of pullback, just the way everyone can have some, maybe entry prices or anything like that. 20% dip would put it roughly in the 4066 range at that point in time. It would, in fact, fall outside of this parabolic trend. Again, I just have this drawn out. We have to wait to see the whole thing's going to end up shaping out. But again, it's showing that by the end of May, going into June, if it was to continue on this parabolic trend, we would be seeing all-time highs around the July timeframe. So hopefully that gets people pretty bullish. We have the 50 weeks to shake out the weekend happening in essentially a couple of days. I don't think this is anything crazy. I don't think it's one of those rumor where everyone just starts buying like crazy all of a sudden, but you never know. What I can see happening, unfortunately, is a lot of people selling around this time because they're expecting something to happen and nothing happened. Same thing over here for the 52 week. It'd be the 1 year mark on May 12th of 2024. Would be 1 year into the existence of Pulse Chain being out. This isn't May 12th. Coordinates 365. Must have moved. Interesting. All right, cool. So we got the 52 weeks to shake out the weekends right there at that point in time. And yeah, that would be May. Oh, because they have the chart starting a little bit before. That makes sense. I was like, this isn't adding up, y'all. May 12th is actually the date Pulse Chain launched. So I'm going to do 365 days as May 12th right there. And just keep it simple. And if it wants to continue playing within this zone and this range, I could definitely see that being a possibility where we're back above SAC price come mid-May to end of May as well, somewhere in this zone, region, or area. So that's just something to kind of keep an eye on. What I'm seeing is things starting to flatten out. What I can also see as well is the Ethereum prices are super cheap right now. this is the time to go ahead and do something on Ethereum if you got to. If you got something you want to end, a stake that you want to end, if you stake that you want to start, transaction you want to get a hold of, go ahead and do that right now. And again, y'all can always go transact much cheaper on the PulseChain network as well. Now, one thing that did happen is the SEC. Let me actually pull this up. So the SEC prosecutors quit after abuse of power in debt box case. So this is commonly happening, as a matter of fact, where they've been abusing their power. They aren't catching anyone before it happens, and they're essentially exerting everyone after something happens, and now they're just throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. And it's just a terrible way of doing it. So not only did one of the lawyers quit, two of the SEC lawyers actually quit. Michael Welsh and Joseph Watkins have resigned from the agency due to materially false and misleading representations made in a crypto case last year. And this is actually one of the things that people are harping on. They are essentially making shit up, and they will try to make whatever they can up. One of the allegations here were essentially saying that Debtbox, or this digital licensing company, was actually using all of the funds to send offshore, and they didn't have any proof about it. The resignations came after the federal district judge, Robert Shelby, reprimanded the SEC for abuse of power in the Debtbox case. You can see back in July, two of the founders were accused of stealing over $49 million from investors. The debt box was placed in a receivership as an extra measure as well. So the court froze all of the assets, and finally Judge Shelby overturned his ruling after evaluating that the commission didn't have any incorrect allegations. They were essentially making shit up. And unfortunately, he reprimanded, and they had to pay quite the price. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, following the sanctions against the Wall Street watchdog, the prosecutors mentioned to dismiss the case without prejudice. And as a result, Debtbox is suing the regulator, seeking around $1.5 million in damages. Now, that's just disgusting if you ask me, y'all. That is absolutely disgusting. And unfortunately, it's happening more and more and more. Checking out some other crypto news as well. Let's see what else we have going on as a brief idea over here. Surge in Bitcoin transaction fees linked to meme coin. So if y'all haven't seen as well, Bitcoin is costing a heck of a lot more money. So if you just wanted to send, say, $1, it's now costing $200 to do the transaction fee. So it's making it unusable. And it's because people built meme coins on top of Bitcoin. Another thing that we can talk about for a brief sec is we got to get rid of the games on we got to get rid of games over here on the blockchain. It's one of the things that shouldn't be done in the first place, but you know, it's here. And again, with games in particular, there's such things as refunds, there's such things as fixing items that have issues, whereas when it's on the blockchain, you can't do anything to fix it. It's just one of those crazy little things. Token 2049 in Dubai of 2024. This actually showed the highest of stakes documentary on the flight over to Dubai. So pretty interesting stuff. If y'all haven't heard about that, crypto Twitterverse. So pretty crazy stuff happening over there. Checking out some other quick news as well. Just going through the articles, and then I'll get to the chat. Fetch.ai's bullish trend further rally on the horizon. Dogecoin could see a massive price surge. Bitcoin Layer 2 stacks Elasto Satoshi VM outperform post-halving. And here's how Ethereum holders could push the price to a 12% rally. Bitcoin Blackrock Bitcoin ETF nears 70 consecutive days of accumulation. That's actually pretty darn bullish. Not going to lie on that one. Give me 1 second, because I actually have a little article here, I believe, that actually kind of shows some of this stuff as well. So let's pull that up over on screen. So this is actually what people are talking about. Now, again, it doesn't have the exact days over here on this one, but you can see that BlackRock has been accumulating every single day, whereas Grayscale has basically been doing nothing but sell every single day. Now, again, they still have plenty of tokens inside of these platforms. Currently, you can see Grayscale sitting on 304,000 Bitcoin still, whereas BlackRock is accumulated already up to 273,596. So essentially, they're just trading hands. Now, as Grayscale is selling, the other ETFs, the other 8 ETFs or 9 ETFs that were created are essentially just buying that Bitcoin that Grayscale is selling. But eventually, there could be a day where Grayscale stops selling. And if they decide to stop selling, what could that do to the Bitcoin price? Pretty crazy stuff happening overall. Checking out some other interesting news as well, or checking out some other crypto news, should I say, maybe interesting or not, you tell me. The risk of restaking are extremely overrated. It's like any new idea, restaking protocols will need a long break-in period to ensure their technical prowess. I'm sure is what it's saying. I'm just making shit up now at that point in time. Bitcoin meme coins push fees higher than the block rewards for the first time. Damn. Let me actually check this article out real quick. Miners may not have even noticed the halving took place over the weekend, with fees largely making up the difference so far. After meme coin mania cycles were speed run, I'm assuming they meant to say sped run. Speed run? Maybe that is the right way of saying it. On Solana and Base, this weekend was Bitcoin's turn, and a new network milestone came along with it. For the first time ever, Bitcoin miners in a single 24-hour period earned more in fees than in block rewards. On Saturday, just after the halving and the token of the minting protocol runes, miners raked in $80 million in fees and $26 million in Bitcoin. This has never happened before in the token terminal data. The day after also came close, with fees making up nearly 8% of all miner revenue. Wow. Runes is a new protocol for minting meme coins from ordinals, and was released at the same block height last Friday's halving, for not for any technical reason, just made a neat countdown. A slew of rune mints immediately came online, and an average transaction fee hit an all-time high of nearly $130. Yeah, it got crazy where people couldn't really transact anymore on the Bitcoin network, which is hilarious. About 53,000 runes related transactions were recorded, and yeah, it made up more than half of the Bitcoin activity. Wow, pretty crazy. Now they're down about 30% of the transaction fees, and have fallen about $11 for high priority. So get back to normal. You can see how crazy it actually went at this point in time. Daily fees, daily token incentives. So wow, pretty crazy stuff. That had definitely an all-time high on that one for sure. Did Satoshi want meme coins? Who cares? Runes are fungible meme coins that exist entirely on chain. Yeah, I mean, once it's out there, it's out there. That's the hard part. Those sats became ordinals, which then can be traded on the NFT marketplace. Yeah, it's when it's created, it's out there, y'all. It is absolutely out there. Fees really can make up for it. The having this time Bitcoin's $130 transaction fees, even fleeting, are still absurd. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Pretty crazy, y'all. Yeah, I just saw an interesting comment as well. So Logi33 says, "Wow, PulseX already burned 4% of the supply." And if y'all don't know, now you know. But with PulseX, this is a deflationary token, boys and gals, meaning there was only ever so many created when it first launched, and there can never be any more. It also has what's called a built-in buy and burn protocol, meaning we've almost got up to 1 trillion tokens burned. Meaning not only burned, but also bought on the open market. Meaning every single time people transact on the Pulse X DEX, a portion of it goes to actually buy Pulse X on the open market and burn it, never to see the light of day again. And so far, in terms of dollar value, it's $27 million have been burned at this current price right now. Multiply this by 3 to get back to the sack price, and that would be a nice right around 70, almost $81 million have been burned just getting back up to the sack price. Because again, all it's doing is just basing it on how many tokens have been burned with the current price. So 820 billion Pulse X tokens bought on the open market, burned, never to see the light again. At this point in time, there's still roughly about 20 trillion tokens remaining on the open market that is circulating. And we are about to dip below the $20 trillion mark as well, with another 334 billion burnt. At that point in time, there will be only 19 trillion, and it just goes down from there. This is a deflationary token, so wow, what a fun fact on that one. No, I mean, I didn't really check out the Gary network. So whenever I checked out like Gary as well, just to kind of give you a little heads up, I pulled it up on, you can actually do stuff like they have something called Soul Scanner on the Solana network. And I believe I put it in as well on here. Yeah, so you can actually come on in. Okay. 1 second. Let me see if I can just maybe stop sharing for a sec and pull it up on screen. Let's try that again. Interesting. It just doesn't want to share it on that screen. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can just share the window then instead. All right. So what you can see over here is a little Solana as well. And let me, oh, yeah, it is showing. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Cool, it is showing that. So you can actually see that the Gari token, all I did was just copy the contract address. It does have the mint off, which is a good thing to see. You do want to see that as well in terms of like, when you're looking at these tokens and checking it all out. Looks like it's about a year and 4 months old. Market cap of $24 million. Liquidity at 75,000. So not too crazy on the liquidity. If you are getting in, you just got to be smart about it. All time high at 2.3. So it's a 92x apparently at that point. And again, volume on the 1 hour. This is back whenever I put it in back on the 19th of April. It was only $406 in an hour, $10,000 in 24 hours. And it looks like today, looking at that same exact item as well, I forget to keep sharing the screen. So that way it actually pulls up as well. But whenever I actually pull it up as well, it looks like it's, right around 13,000 in volume. So it's doing stuff. I mean, just it's not a token I'm going to be participating in. I don't mess with any of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to, it was actually down. So if you're wanting to take advantage of a price dip when things are down, as you know, it is a good time to actually enter. So that's kind of what I saw. Again, just from its previous high right here on this particular chart that I pulled up, it's roughly around 74%, which would mean going back up, it's still looking at a nice little 4x if it just returned to that previous all-time high. And again, making money in crypto is pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool, y'all. Pretty darn cool. So that's my thoughts on that, my friend. What else we got? What else we got? Rugburn 222. Pop the like, absolutely. So all is lost, the end is near. Lol. What's up? How you doing, Bugs? Lower to the Ponzi Inc. at $4.20 is a key level. It's been resistance the last 3-4 times it's been reached. Yeah, it's definitely a key level for sure, for sure. Hex Glenn, hello. ATX. Are all these altcoin seasons short lived like 85% crab or down and 15% up? Trying to understand as a pleb still. Need me some gains. No, it's just not alt season yet. Like what you saw with Solana was a freak thing that can occasionally come through. But for the most part, that's just a meme coin mania, is what they called it. It wasn't even altcoin season at this point in time. Because if you look at the rest of the majority of the actual market, we haven't really seen those 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 150, 200, 500x's in these other altcoin markets. It was just a meme coin mania going crazy. So the altcoin season is, while it can be not necessarily short lived, it just hasn't happened yet at this point in time. It just hasn't taken place. And you can see, like, right now on the alt season, as a matter of fact, whenever I pull it up over here, looks like right now we're in a 36% alt season right now. So it's neutral. Like, we're not even close into alt season yet, my personal opinion, and also the personal opinion of actual metrics that you can look at. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Why and how does ink burn? Point four now. Many thanks. It burns from other protocols. There's other things that people actually built as well that actually allow the ink token to be burned, and through them they have it burned. So they just keep track of it on PulseX, or I mean Go Pulse. PulseX is deflationary. What is Pulse? Pulse is inflationary. There's an inflation mechanism, right? Because it pays the validators to actually secure the network. So when you actually are seeing stuff like this, for example, on the validator side of things, you have to put in 32 million pulse and you can get 9.9% APR. But it inflates. PulseChain does inflate, my friend, to be able to, secure the network and all that good stuff. So yeah, hopefully that helped answer that question. Is the concept of burning like halving, but in like a continuous mode instead of every 4 years? Is my logic correct? Mm, depends, I guess. But the idea of burning. So burning it, all it is just it's sending it to a wallet that can never be accessed. That's the concept of burning. That's not necessarily like the halving, where you get the halving in Bitcoin, where you used to get paid, we'll say 500 Bitcoin per day, down to 250, down to 125, and again, just keeps going down from there. And I'm just kind of making up some numbers, or I guess it was 50, then 25, then 12.5, then 6.25, and now it's even lower right now as well. So now instead of getting that, you're getting roughly around three Bitcoin per block that you're actually earning now. So that's a halving. It's literally cutting the reward in half. Whereas burning, it's sending it to a wallet that can never be accessed by anyone ever. So ideally, in theory, it takes it off the market because it's never going to be sold. So you don't have to worry about any selling of any large or any player at all at that point in time for those tokens. So the PulseX that you see burned right now is gone. My friends, it's gone. That 820 billion, not only is it gone, it was actually bought at first and then burned. Whereas the ink token, they're just burning it, but they're sending it to a black hole address where it just can never be accessed by anyone ever. And that's a beautiful thing. So again, you don't have to worry about that ever being sold at all. And in a deflationary asset, the more that the tokens get burned, the less tokens that there are in supply. And due to the supply and demand mechanism, if demand remains high and supply remains low, prices shoot the F up. But I hope that helps explain that portion for you as well. But yeah, guys, I'm going to wrap it up on this one for today. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I will be back tomorrow with a little bit of an earlier stream so we can go through all the questions. And if you do have any questions in the future, be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb.